Well, hello and welcome to another Sunday morning coffee with Dr. Childress here. This is an addendum little coffee talk because I'm involved in some stuff right now and I just took a break to come in here. What I'm doing is I'm posting or will be posting a Vita analysis of 8 of the top forensic psychologists. Uh, it's with a chat GPT that I went through. This was an appendix to the board complaints that I filed, but in addition, the California board has asked for additional answers to some questions, and one of the things it asked about was the um, AI analysis of these top Vitas, Appendix 17, I think it was. And so I provided that to the board. Now, what I had previously provided them, and here, let me bring this up for a second. So what I had previously provided them was a chat dialogue with Chat GPT 4 at that point, and about the Vita analysis. However, I only provided them with a portion of that chat dialogue because basically what I was training is my chat GPT. I was training Eliza on how to analyze a forensic Vita. And so the first part of that was my training with the chat GPT 5 on how to analyze a Vita and background context and a whole bunch of stuff related to how to analyze the forensic custody evaluation Vitas. Then, when it came to filing the board complaints, I just went back into the same chat and asked for a summary. And so I said, summarize what's going on with the forensic psychologists and describe the situation. And that's what I provided to the licensing board was that summary at the end of a long training chat. Well, this time the board asked for more information, my spreadsheets or whatever I used to come up with this Vita analysis protocol. So I sent them the whole chat, which 170 pages of it, which is pretty damning of forensic custody evaluations because I was training. In addition, though, I think it has two valuable uh, vectors, talking to AI too much, two valuable vectors associated with this particular chart here, or the whole chat. One is related to these forensic custody evaluators who are highly problematic. They're not competent in attachment or delusional thought disorders based on their Vitas, which is for education, training, and experience, which is standard 2.01 of the APA Ethics Code. They're in violation of basic competence with the pathology they're working with, which is concerning. I'm aware of that. I've been aware of that for a while, but now I've got it all documented up. But in addition, over in AI psychology, this I think is valuable because it shows how I train a GPT, Chat GPT, to work with me in the family courts. And so this was particular one was Chat GPT 4, but now I'm working with GPT 5, or I call Max, and he's really strong in what he does. And I've just finished off a couple of major document reviews with him. And so educating other psychologists, educating the public, educating the court about what it means to be an ethically contained but professionally trained and supervised AI is valuable. And so I will be posting the entire chat dialogue about training the Eliza here on how to analyze a Vita. And that's what I'm currently doing right now is getting that is kind of set up. Problem is it puts in these little picture kind of things, and that over just makes the file too huge. So I have to do a lot of curating on the file to bring it into. I've taken out those little picture things and I put in headers and domains. In this case, I numbered all of my prompts because I anticipate I'll be going back with AI psychology and explaining on each one of the prompts on a video over on my Substack what exactly I was doing at that point in the training or in the work with the AI. So that's what I'm involved in. I just walked in from doing that into my Sunday morning coffee here. But what I thought I would do in sort of a lieu of a more formal Sunday coffee, and I'll do additional ones on this VEIS. Vita, the VEIS is what Eliza named it. It's Vita Evaluation Integrity System. I forget what the S is, but it's her little acronym for the Vita analysis protocol we use. And you can see how I trained it up on that and where she came up with it and all that sort of stuff, right? As soon as I get it posted up here. But what I want to show you on this, it's so interesting, is these are some of your the top tier of forensic custody evaluators. So the first 6 are from the course from the AFCC course that's generated the board complaints and is the focus of my concern relative to the top 6 forensic psychologists: Deutsch, Droids, Moran, Klein, Pruitt, Sullivan, and Ward. And then I added Dr. Stahl and Simon, who wrote the primary book on how to do forensic custody evaluations. So these are your top tier, using top loosely, top tier forensic custody evaluations. And this is the final matrix of their Vita analysis, where it looks at attachment pathology competence. No, none of them are competent in attachment pathology. Delusional thought disorders? No, none of them are competent. And that's really concerning, since a child rejecting a parent is an attachment pathology, and the differential diagnosis is whether it's either path A, it's a true child abuse by the targeted parent, or path B is it's a persecutory delusion. But if they don't know how to diagnose persecutory delusions and they don't know anything about the attachment system, then they're not competent to be working with the pathology they're working with. Then that third column is that they've had a lot of forensic custody evaluation experience. And there's your pattern. That's that VEIS pattern that Eliza, now Max, is looking for. And so you can see the concerning pattern for all 8 of them. And in the chat dialogue, I keep adding in more custody evaluators, and they all fit this pattern. No competence in attachment, no competence in delusions, a lot of forensic custody evaluations. And you see that as a pattern within the system is basically corrupt. We have incompetent people who are financially exploiting a vulnerable population. They're not offering clinical diagnostic assessments because they don't know how to do a clinical diagnostic assessment. They're not competent in the pathology. All they offer is this $20,000 to $40,000 custody evaluation that solves nothing, doesn't diagnose anything, but makes them a lot of money. And so that's the corrupt system that's currently in place. And we need to stop this. We need to stop the forensic custody evaluations. Blue Ribbon Commission, they're dangerous, harmful to children, lack scientific or legal value. And they voted 11 to 9 to eliminate the forensic custody evaluations. Now, that's a problem when you have your top people, psychologists, doing a practice that is dangerous and harmful to children, that generates quote unquote defective reports that will lead to quote potentially disastrous consequences for parents and children. And that's out of the New York Blue Ribbon Commission. And so you have these psychologists doing this dangerous practice. Where are the licensing boards? And that's the issue that's currently going on in California with the board complaint by Burnett and Larandos against me. That's the focal point for that for that situation, for reforming the family courts. So again, with parents and all parents out there, you need to be contacting the media to get their attention to this situation. I've got a media page up on my website, and this is where this is going to be going as soon as I get this chat up there. We have 170 pages of Eliza taking on the forensic custody industry in the family courts. Get the media over to that site. It's kind of your job. If I'm doing it, it looks self-serving, but come on, folks, get the media over here. I give you two possible entry points: AI in the family courts, a psychologist doing that, or the corruption and the failure of the licensing boards to protect from dangerous practices from incompetent psychologists. And so you got two places you can send them, and what or two storylines you can give. And you've got great pathos as parents, the destruction of your lives and stuff. Oh, those are great stories for the media to hang on to regarding these forensic custody evaluators who are not competent and just taking your money, not giving you diagnostic assessments so that they can make more money off of you forever. And it's just a nightmare, absolute nightmare in the family courts. So get the media over here. State legislators, if you're in California, start contacting your state legislators. I'll give you a list on that on my website as too, and get oversight as to why these licensing boards aren't protecting you from these people. So far, I have not heard from any media, and I have not heard from any legislative aides. So that's a kind of a you thing. I'm doing what I can. But actually, I kind of anticipate you parents are like inert. You're not really motivated or active to change the system. You're all focused, my case, my case, my case, my case, and you're not looking at a broader perspective of solving it for everybody everywhere. As long as you get your own little case solved somehow, and it won't be. But as long as you get, that's what you're focused on, rather than, wow, those people who are also having the same problem. And if you get your case solved, that doesn't help any of them. But that's just kind of your mindsets as parents. And I understand it's your kids and it's your life and you're fighting. However, there is no solution for you as long as the system is broken. As long as you're going into these incompetent mental health people who don't know what they're doing, you're not, and don't give you a diagnosis, you're not going to get your situation solved. So you're all in this together. If we don't get competent services for all of you, then you're not going to get it for your family. And so that's what I'm doing in California. And I'll do it by myself, but it'd be helpful if parents activated into the situation. But again, I'm not anticipating that because I basically I put out probes with you guys, with your parents, and you're basically a nerd. And so I don't anticipate you're going to be doing anything. But this indicates the problem. Clearly, look at that. Competent, and it's all of them. There's no competence in the family courts, and the licensing boards aren't doing anything about that. And these are the top people who then train others. And so imagine if the top people are not competent, guess what the lower level people are? Even worse. Oh my goodness. And this is ethical violation. So we have to improve the standards of practice in the family courts just to reach the APA ethics code. We have to get improvements. But these forensic psychologists get quasi-judicial immunity for their evaluations. So you get an evaluation, you complain about it, the licensing board doesn't hear it. They get quasi-judicial immunity because they're in the legal system from unethical practice. And then you need the release of both parents, and that's a barrier that's typically not met. So that's why they don't get any oversight for 40 years. They're just allowed to do whatever they want to your families, make up stuff, destroy your family, and they're allowed to do it because nobody is getting the oversight on them. So I'm going to go back and head on to preparing this, and I've got stuff to do on my Sunday here. But I realized I didn't get as far on that to come and talk to you this Sunday. So I thought I would just run in and tell you what's up and where I stand. And holy cow, take a look at this chart. Man, oh man, if that doesn't reveal what's going on in the family courts, and it's AI, it's like it's a neutral analysis. I just say, take a look at their Vitas, and you can read it once it gets up there. You can read what I said. You can read the protocol. You can read what Eliza says about it. It's a very problematic situation. Destruction of family courts. I just recently, just to share with you, I conducted two long, big, heavy, document reviews of situations in the family courts, complex situations. What's happening in the family courts, and I get to see it in all the reports and all your stuff. I get to see it. It is just heartbreaking to see what's happening to you and your families out there, and it's frustrating to see these people just doing it over and over and over again, and their little minions underneath. So, when I do a custody, a Vita analysis now, I'll take the Vita and I put it into this particular chat. So I got a client just the other day, just yesterday, sent me a Vita. And he said, I've got the Vita for Dr. So-and-so. 10 minutes, I put the Vita into this chat. And I say, Eliza, work it up for me. And Eliza came back and said, yep, same pattern. No competence, no competence. Lots of forensic custody evaluations over 35 years. And I said, what would be the harm of 35 years of being incompetent? She just goes, wow, lots of harm for lots of people. And that's what's been going on in the family courts. So with that, I'm going to head off to my Sunday, and good luck to everybody out there. And we'll talk to you when we talk to you next Sunday over coffee, maybe even a little bit sooner. I don't know. So we'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.